What non-horror movie is actually really scary? Coraline, it's technically a kid's movie but it's freaky as hell. Who Framed Roger Rabbit scared the hell out of me. Especially with the Judge Doom scene at the end when it's revealed he's a toon. When I killed your brother, I talked carrot just like THIIIIIS. Asterisk dagger eyes asterisk. As a child, I was terrified of the Pinocchio donkey scene. As an adult I am terrified of the Pinocchio donkey scene. As a donkey I am terrified of the Pinocchio adult scene. James and the Giant Peach. I don't even remember the story of this one but remember the animation being incredibly gloomy and gritty. I saw Return to Oz when I was a kid during a sleepover. I didn't get any sleep that night. Saw it again a few years ago as a 30 years old. Still scary. The wheelie guys scared the shit out of me when I was a kid. And the lady with all the heads in the cabinets lol. That being said, I still like the movie as an adult. Mommy Dearest, it's about a narcissistic actress who adopts a child, shows love initially, then turns into a horrible, abusive monster when the child starts thinking for herself. If you've been in an abusive relationship, this movie hits harder than any horror flick. In a weird way I find The Truman Show scary. Why? Were you planning a trip to Fiji then suddenly a worldwide pandemic happened so you couldn't go? I've attempted 5 different trips in my adult life over 200 miles away from my home and all have ended in failure, including one because of the pandemic. I'm pretty sure I'm in a bubble. The Spiderwick Chronicles scared the shit out of me when I was young. It's a PG kids movie, but I swear in some of the scenes the tension and jump scares felt like they were for a horror movie. Nightcrawler isn't scary in the traditional sense, but it's extremely unsettling. Fantastic performance by Jake Gyllenhaal. He should have gotten an Oscar nomination for that movie. I found E.T. extra terrifying when all the guys in the hazmat suits are quarantining the house. Scarred me for a long time. HBO's Chernobyl was hands down the scariest TV series I've ever watched. Radiation is terrifying. It's like they released a demon. Once it's out, you can't put it back in. It glows. It lives for 1,000 years. And any mortals who dare to look directly at it will die. The line, "It's not 3 Röntgen, it's 15,000, was sobering as fuck because you've just seen how gravely concerned everyone was with the prospect of 3 Röntgen. Requiem for a Dream is scary as hell. If you really want your kids to understand why drugs are bad, just show them this movie. Well, don't show this movie to kids. Maybe on their teen years. A lot of frightening scenes, graphic moments and a sad ending." Does Watership Down count? The 1978 version. It's not categorized as a horror but as a kid's animation adventure, yet it has blood and gore in it. Scared the shit out of me as a kid. Couldn't sleep for days. I still can't watch it. I think the worst part about Watership Down was he wrote it as a bedtime story for his kids and toned it down for the book. Requiem for a Dream, Monsieur. The absolute best movie I never ever wanna watch again. AI. Artificial Intelligence. I watched that pretty young and the whole thing was fairly traumatizing. Also, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Fucking scorpions, man. I saw AI in the theaters when it came out. I thought it was going to be a nifty sci-fi flick about robots, flying cars, and shit. I cried like a little bitch through 3/4 of that movie. 7-year-old me would say asterisk Mars attacks. Asterisk hell, I'll still stand by it. Those aliens were goddamn creepy and the CGI on the people experimented on, aka Dog Body Lady, was terrifying. All dogs go to heaven. Saw the first 20 to 30 minutes in the theater when I was about 5. 30-ish years later still haven't watched it, and still can picture the scene that caused me to lose it. Whiplash. Ever see J.K. Simmons and think, boy, he's pretty intense. He might be really scary if he weren't so funny. Quote, yeah, no one laughs during Whiplash. He's equally terrifying as the neo-Nazi in Oz. Really good series. not about Somewhere Over the Rainbow. A scene from The Elephant Man by David Lynch. When the disfigured man is laying in bed and the carnival guy breaks in through the window and charges people to see his face haunts me. The way they dance around him laughing when he is dealing with so much mental anguish sticks with me. I think we can add Eraserhead to this list as well. Lynch makes some pretty dark, weird movies. I watched Contagion the other day and that definitely kept me awake. I saw that in the theaters and I thought to my ignorant mid-20s self, oh shit, this could actually happen someday. But it probably won't happen until when I'm much in my 50s or 60s. Asterisk 9 years later in my 30s, asterisk. Ah shit, quote. Watched it the second weekend into lockdown. I was fine until they mentioned social distancing verbatim about 30 minutes in and then I was strapped in for the fucking ride. Watched it recently for the first time. It's like watching a documentary for everything happening right now. Toy Story 3. It gets so dark eventually and the bear just scares me. And Coraline. It should be labeled animation horror. I love both. Also for how dark they are being for kids. I honestly still can't believe Toy Story 3 happened. The scene where they all hold hands thinking they're about to die is absolutely gut-wrenching. Schindler's List can't believe such horror actually took place. What's worse is some people don't. In that some people compare modern-day issues that do not involve genocide. I can't go to the movie so I'm asterisk literally like a Jew in Nazi Germany. Asterisk S. Life is Beautiful, La Vida e Bella. I think it's even harder to watch. I'm in absolute awe that Spielberg directed both Schindler's List and Jurassic Park at the same time. How he was able to change his mindset from making a large-scale big-budget blockbuster to making a very personal, heart-wrenching emotional roller coaster of a film is incredible. Two of the greatest, most groundbreaking films of all time. On complete opposite ends of the spectrum. Both made by the same guy in the same year. Unreal. Not a movie but The Handmaid's Tale fucking scares me to death. Not sure how to phrase this, but I get such a strange PTSD feeling from that show and how I imagine my great-grandparents felt during the Holocaust. No Country for Old Men. The road shook me to my core for weeks after viewing. I hope Cormac McCarthy is okay, because some of the stuff that his mind produces is very haunting. Blood Meridian will always be one of the most chilling books I've ever read. Unlike The Road or No Country for Old Men, the book takes place from the perspective of, arguably, the villains. Mr. McCarthy sure has a talent for describing some of the most awful things in some of the most beautiful language. Threads. Nobody's mentioned it yet. It will give you nightmares. It is relentlessly bleak. You've seen nothing like it. I promise. It's the lead up to and long aftermath of a nuclear war presented as a factual documentary. It is not a date movie. Edit. It's on Shudder. 7-day free trial. And Amazon Prime, apparently, for anyone who wants to see for themselves. I was going to post this, as well as The Day After. Threads is British. The Day After is its American contemporary. And both came out in the mid-80s when US-Soviet relations were the closest to deteriorating since the Cuban Missile Crisis. Both films examine the what-if scenario of a Cold War-era skirmish rapidly spiraling out of control into the unthinkable, and what happens to normal people afterward. I am actually surprised there hasn't been a modern update of one of these. The Brave Little Toaster. Terrifying clown monster traumatized me as a child. I still don't run over the cord of the vacuum because of that one scene. The seizure scene. The workshop dismantling people scene. The junkyard where cars are dying while singing a song about how worthless they and how dying is the best thing that can happen to them. Oh my god, that song is horrifying to go back and listen to as an adult. It is dripping with suicidal depression. I had nightmares about that movie for years as a kid. That's the best scene from the movie too. Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. The original never scared me, but the remake did. The movie 9. The way that machine just sucked the soul through the doll's eyes and mouth were burned into me. I haven't heard anyone mention that movie in years. Yes, it was a very bleak movie. Francis Coppola's The Conversation, 1974, with Gene Hackman, John Cazale, Frederick Forrest, Cynthia Williams, Terry Garr, and Harrison Ford. All of the paranoia we have about the devices we carry in our pockets began to take root in the technology featured in this tense thriller. There's a lot of cool filmmaking going on here, and one of the most upsetting seconds-long toilet scenes ever filmed. The monsters in this movie are us, and the tools we have created. Jumanji. Watched it for the first time as an adult and I was seriously uncomfortable for long parts of it. I thought I heard the Jumanji thumping music the other day. Nope. Just my cat doing the gulping sound repeatedly right before he needed to vomit or cough up a hairball on my carpet. I wish it had been the Jumanji thumping. The scene in Peter Jackson's King Kong when they encounter the villagers gave me nightmares as a kid. Yes. And the scene with the penis slug thing's pit. That still fucks me up today. I'm fully convinced I would have shot myself to spare myself being around the monsieur. Ugh, that scene stuck with me when I watched it as a kid. Watership Down. True. There should be a warning at the start. Although animated, this film does not contain cute frolicking bunnies. Oh, it does contain cute frolicking bunnies, but they all fucking die. The Witches movie is still less unsettling than the book, because he never gets turned back into a boy in the book. The Wizard of Oz, 1939. Seeing the Green Witch and her flying monkeys scared the shit out of me as a child. Not really a movie, but I have a pathological fear of the Teletubbies. Titanic. It's super scary to die in the middle of the ocean. Edit. Holy shit, 131 upvotes. This has been my comment with the highest number of upvotes, thank you all. It's even super scary not to die in the middle of the ocean. Gravity scared the bejesus out of me. The idea of being untethered in space and just floating away with no way to do anything? Fuck that. Supposedly though you get high on the oxygen, that's not a bad way to go. At least according to David Bowie. Asterisk, I think my spaceship knows which way to go. Asterisk. Heathers bothers me because when it came out, it was really far-fetched parody. Now, it's fucking uncomfortable because of how realistic it seems. I went to school in a high-achieving town, with a serious teen suicide problem, and a couple of credible bomb threats to the schools. It upset me that everything portrayed in the film was plausible in regards to the experience I had. There, the brave little toaster. Seriously, if you had fond memories of it as a child but haven't seen it in a long time, go back and rewatch it. That shit is crazy and messed up. Dear Zachary, I once had a roommate be shitty to me, and as revenge I suggested we watch this movie on her birthday. Sweet, sweet revenge. I just watched it last week. I shouldn't have. Our mini-series allowed Chernobyl, because I remember thinking, this feels like a doomsday sci-fi flick, but even scarier because the science is real. And, you know, it actually happened. People as far as Germany were told to stay indoors. Children of men. And it's only gotten more frightening in light of recent events. The Polar Express. Those creepy fucking elves that looked like they just escaped prison. As yes. The movie where a train conductor Tokyo drifts a fucking train on ice to save 100 kids. Seriously. That was cool. The Dark Crystal. No questions. I was looking for this one. The Sekises were some of the most terrifying creatures ever created. Still gives me nightmares. The skecking crab spiders made me want to burn my house down. Still fascinated with this movie and enjoyed the series on Netflix. I don't think Pan's Labyrinth is technically a horror movie. Doctor Who, the double episode with the angels. I used to know a guy who had a huge scale model of one of them in his garden. If he had guests over, he'd sneak out after dark and push it to the window so when they opened the curtains it was right there staring at you. Thank you so much for watching and have a good day.